welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Wrath, a Seven Deadly Sins story. I think this is part of an anthology, I guess, that wrestles with each of the seven deadly sins. There might be envy and there might be gluttony. I have no idea. I think I saw something for envy as a suggestion. Let's see. Nope, it's not there. I'm imagining things. Although I did just see our final Lifetime movie. I only have one more to go, and so help me God, if this thing randomly selects that movie to play next after having, 3 or 4 now in a week. One, I'll be relieved because we'll be done with it. Part of me wants to almost select it myself, but I want to be random. And I also want to spread these things out. I don't want a whole week of just Lifetime movies. The start of a year with just Lifetime movies. But it stars Alyssa Milano, and yeah. We'll talk about that some other time if it gets picked, when it gets picked. And as far as I know, I don't think there's any new Lifetime movies being added in January, February, and March. So after this, we have just one more. I watched this. Yes, it's an hour and 27 minutes. It's 1 minute shorter than most other Lifetime dramas and holiday films and all the other types that are out there. But man, this is one of those types of movies you see on some of the other types of channels like ID or whatever. It's always about women in danger. It's like a crime drama where a woman is dating the wrong guy or just gets with the wrong crowd and then something goes wrong. It's usually a relationship drama. But in this one, yes, we got a successful lawyer, Michelle Williams. No, not the blonde from Dawson's Creek. Different Michelle Williams. The one from Destiny's Child. Yes. And by the way, you'll notice there's fingerprints all over this. The woman who plays her mom in this, that woman right there, that's Beyonce's. That's Queen Bee's mom. That's Tina Knowles. So yeah. She doesn't even have a picture on IMDb. What the heck? She's done a bunch of stuff. So yeah, this is a very kind of Destiny's Child branch off, where Michelle, who used to sing in Destiny's Child, gets to be a lead actress, and I thought for sure we had her in another series of Beyonce related, not Beyonce, but Knowles Destiny's Child connected productions. We did during the Christmas run, I'm pretty sure. But, as I said, this is a movie about a woman who, she's super successful, she's a lawyer, she's good at her job, she's wealthy, she has good friends, she has good family, even though she doesn't always measure up to her father's expectations. And she's happy, but she's not fulfilled, I guess, because she's always working. She is always pretty much zoned in on that. And her friend, says, hey, we got to go out and have some drinks and have some fun. Let your hair down. You did really good in your lawyering today or whatever. You did some good stuff. And, well, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but once I tell you the setup, you know it's going to be fairly predictable. We get to meet her, I think, first, and then they cut away to another character who is going to be important to the story. It's a guy who's just punched a hole in a wall, and there is a young woman who's like, I'm leaving, here's your engagement ring back. Blah. And she leaves. He's played by Antonio Cupo. He plays Xavier. Xavier sounds a pretty exotic name, it sounds pretty cool. He's a handsome guy. He is successful. He's also a lawyer, and oh my gosh, their birthdays are on the same day. It's meant to be. Her friend introduces her to Xavier, and while she swears, it's just a drink, it turns into much more throughout the night, and her buttons become a little bit more unbuttoned as they sit by the bar and near the fire and just trade stories and bad lawyer jokes, and they get along really well. It looks pretty fantastic. Unfortunately, that previous scene, it was just honestly not even 5 minutes before, shows that he's not a great guy. He's, for some reason, he's punching walls and upsetting a young woman who was willing to be engaged to him, and just throws it all away because he seems abusive. He seems a little unhinged. And he is. They show us these things. It kind of undercuts any kind of mystery as to who he is. This is not to, it's this scene is fully just for us. It is not to give any advancement in the storyline to our heroine right here, our hero, who, if she learned about this, then that would be one thing. But there's no point later in the film where this is referenced. There's nothing showing that there's a history of this guy being abusive. Even if he didn't hit his former fiancée, he's a little intense, let's say. So I feel like there's something in there that kind of got cut for time, and we've probably lost some context. I don't know. But this is really about them getting to know each other, and him becoming a little bit more obsessive as time goes on. The only man that can be in her life is him. Even if it's, if an old friend comes to town to visit and says, "Hey, how you doing?" And he gets really inquisitive as to, "How do you know this guy? We went to high school together. We dated for like a year." But that was high school. It was 12, 15 years ago. I don't know how old she's supposed to be in this. 12, 15, 20 years ago. I don't know. So yeah, it's a woman in danger. And you're like, I think it's meant for somebody to start screaming at the screen, "He's bad news! Stop!" But then you would have a 15-minute film if the actors could hear you. Or the characters could hear you. Someday I'm sure there's going to be a movie situation. Oh my gosh, somebody's going to come up with this idea. They're going to create a movie that is AI generated, where if enough people are screaming at the screen, it will regenerate the storyline to what the people choose. But the more they would scream at the screen for them to not don't go down that dark hallway in the horror movie, or don't separate from each other when you're in the haunted house or the woods or whatever, then people making good choices make for very short films. That movie's going to get made. I'm just telling you right now. I should make it, but I really don't want to mess with AI and creativity. As you could probably suspect, there is no AI used in these videos, and I can't imagine it could make them worse, but it's still, why would I need AI for any of this? And I don't even script anything. So there's no writing involved. This is all whim. This is from the heart. This is all just explaining what I know from my brain, assuming I didn't forget everything between the computer and standing here in a matter of 4 minutes. So, Chastity is her name, by the way. Michelle Williams plays Chastity Jeffries. They get along. They have a lot of connections. They have a lot of stuff in common. And of course, when he gets a little bit more intense, she's like, "Well, chill out." Well, she's not worried about it. She's not sure she wants to go too fast. When he proposes to her, after a few drinks, and one night, like a month or so or more later, maybe it's 6 months, not even that. It's a few months later, and they're getting close. But by the way, at the same time, just to let you know, this has because of this whole wrath kind of thing, which is nobody uses that word when it comes to, well, you got really wrathful. No, you got upset. You got angry. Nobody uses wrath in a sentence in America. I'm just saying, it was shoehorned into a sentence at one point when she explained how he is acting. Nope. You didn't need to do that. There is an awful lot of Bible quoting, and this feels like it's meant to be a part Christian movie. She sings Amazing Grace at the piano at one time. And I think a lot of the soundtrack, the music that brings us into the film and brings us out of the film, or any kind of montage kind of thing, is her singing, I believe. Beyonce isn't contributing to the soundtrack, but she, I imagine, is the one. She's a star. Why not? If she can sing, she can sing. So she should sing the soundtrack. But I still feel like I'm telling you the entire story. And honestly, unless you already like these types of films, it's not like I can tell you not to watch them or tell you that, oh my gosh, you should watch them. You're going to watch that either way if this is your thing. Again, even the cheesy stuff, even the stuff that we know isn't like top-notch quality filmmaking, storytelling, we sometimes eat it up. People love the same crime stories over and over and over again. Some people love the same sci-fi, I'll watch Star Wars over and over again. Same Marvel stuff. Everybody, whether they're good or bad, we tend to lean towards the good, but even when they're bad, we just sort of eat it up. And still, it's a comfort food for a lot of us. This one is comfort food for somebody, and probably they choke it down, but it's not good. It's not really good. It's a balance. At the same time, like I was saying, it feels like it's like a Christian message film, because mom quotes the Bible, and then there's just talking about mercy, and it's not like that's a bad message or anything. I'm not saying that at all. Not that they can't. I'm not saying that they can't tell a story like that with these elements in it. It's perfectly fine. But at the same time, there's I guess in order to be realistic in the real world today, there's also a sequence where she's basically humping the dude. There's a few very tame sex scenes. Super tame. There's no skin everywhere, and there's no hot and heavy. It's usually post or pre. It's never in the mix of it. So those kind of things tend to be not seen, and nobody's saying ass or swear words in the sense of sexuality. They're saying these things like "don't be a dumbass" or something like that. That kind of stuff they say in conversation, which you'll not find in a Kirk Cameron film, I believe, or whatever other film is that where God is presumably not dead. You won't find that kind of language or those scenarios mixed in between scenes where people are like, well, I don't go to church that much anymore, but I still have the same kind of beliefs. What do you think, super psycho guy? Well, I'm a total agnostic, and I don't really know. But the jury's still out on that. Lawyer joke. So she's busting on him for his lack of faith to prove that he's evil, I guess. I don't know. Either way, it's shot well. It's structured all right, although it moves really fast in the beginning in the progression of their relationship. Again, the structure of these type of movies is an hour and 27 minutes, and things have to be done. A big major step happens half an hour before the end, and then 15 minutes before the end, and there's even a point where she kind of forgives him and takes him back after he does something pretty egregious. And she's like, I'm kind of out. I really don't want to deal with this kind of stuff. I don't want to be the abused woman in all the movies I watch on Lifetime. But guess what? She goes back when he makes an excuse about being abused as a child. Whether that's true or not, we are never given that information. He uses it for sympathy, and he uses every form of manipulation. He even threatens her dog. Nope. You're out, buddy. Nope. You do not threaten that tiny little chihuahua. At all. I mean, there's plenty of moments you're just like, just get out. But he is relentless, and it is meant to be scary. And honestly, we get kind of toward the end, we get a scene from the end of the movie at the beginning of the movie. And that moment at the beginning of the movie is her getting knocked out and thrown in the trunk of her car, and somehow her leg broken. I'm not sure how that worked, but also she knows karate. Yes, that's a thing. It's a thing in this, and does she get to use it? Not really. but it's meant to show that she's not defenseless, that she is her own hero. She doesn't need a white knight coming in to save her, even though she has a good guy, who is looking out for her. And along with that, you have a father that has never really approved of really any of her choices. He was a lawyer as well, and she's struggling with that. And well, he struggles with the fact that all these times that she was in danger, he wasn't treating her right and being closer with her. And so there's a bunch of family dynamic things. Her and her mom. By the way, mom gives her a gun, an unlicensed gun. I'm not sure what's going on in Washington State. This takes place in Seattle, mostly, well, partially. Seattle and a small town near Seattle, not too far. But, by the way, she's a big city girl from a small town. And when she goes back to the small town, she gets to run into the guy that she used to date, and he's a small town guy, so it still has that holiday structure without the holiday. Anyway, I've talked way too much about this film. It's a bit longer than you should spend watching it, but hey, to each their own. If you love this type of stuff, here's one more. And it's, if you love the Destiny's Child music and the women that were in it, and hey, go for it. Yeah, go for it. It's not for me. I don't think it was made for me, so that's all right too. Not everybody's supposed to love everything. I'm not expecting everybody to love Star Wars and Spider-Man and everything else. But hey, to each their own. I just can't reconcile this as a movie that somebody would watch on the merits of enjoying movies. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 29. If you don't know how I do this, it's a random number generator tied to a spreadsheet with color-coded categories, and each of them relates to a number on this list. And okay, well, this was a good choice. It's another documentary, sort of, but this one's about filmmaking. This is about a specific set of films, one of which I saw recently, pretty late into its run, but I still was able to get an IMAX 3D screening at 10:30 at night. I didn't get home until 3. This is Fire and Water, the making of the Avatar films. And not just the latest, which is Fire and Ash. Avatar Fire and Ash. Fire and Ash. Now, this is Fire and Water, making of the Avatar films. So we're going to see James Cameron and all the people, the actors, digital people and the stunt people and all the other people that put something this massive together. And we'll talk about the movie a little bit tomorrow as well, because I have a feeling also I want to leave that full review for that movie for when that eventually gets added to Disney Plus, which I imagine will be fairly soon. I mean, well, in the next 3 months anyway. It's still in the theaters in a prime spot right now, mainly because of the type of ways they can project it. You know, hey, it's January. There's not a whole lot of hot stuff coming out, and it's IMAX 3D, and you can charge more for those tickets. Plus, they have a bunch of Avengers sneaks to throw in there. There's like a fourth one now with Wakanda. And something else, some other group, which I will not mention. Okay, it's a Fantastic Four. Wakanda and the Fantastic Four will return. But, okay, we talked enough about that. Fire and Water, making of the Avatar films is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.